I didn't feel lucky when my grandparents left everything to me. I felt watched. They'd been deliberate people. Farmers who tracked rainfall in notebooks and labeled every storage box in the attic. When the estate settled, just under $900,000 in assets, including the house, they had chosen me because, as my grandmother once put it, you think 3 steps ahead. It didn't feel like a compliment then. It felt like responsibility. My mother was polite about the will. My brother was quieter. Not angry. Just calculating in that way he gets when he believes time will correct what fairness did not. I'd seen that look before. So I did what my grandparents would have done. I sat with an estate attorney 2 weeks after probate closed and transferred everything into a properly structured trust. Not dramatic, not secretive, just organized. The house titled under the trust, the accounts consolidated, clear documentation, clear authority. I didn't announce it. I didn't warn anyone. You don't warn people about precautions. For a few months, nothing happened. Sunday dinners were stiff but functional. My brother made occasional jokes about living large. My mother would sigh about how hard it must be, handling all that responsibility alone. It was phrased like sympathy, but carried weight. Then last week, they showed up unannounced. It was mid-afternoon. I was sorting mail at the kitchen counter. Through the window I saw my brother's car pull in too quickly, my mother in the passenger seat. They both stepped out with a kind of rehearsed brightness. He didn't sit down, didn't ask how I was. We took care of the paperwork, he said, smiling like someone revealing a surprise party. The house is signed into my name. You'll need to be out by Friday. My mother folded her hands like she was waiting for gratitude. There was a folder on the table between them. Copies of something. Stamped. Official. Looking to anyone who doesn't read carefully. In that moment, something in me settled rather than flared. It wasn't shock. It was confirmation. I'd always been the agreeable one. The one who didn't argue loudly. The one who didn't compete for space. They had mistaken restraint for incapacity for years. I looked at my brother for a long second. You really think I'd let that happen? He laughed. Not kindly, not cruelly either. Just confident. It's done. I didn't argue. I didn't threaten. I didn't explain trusts or fiduciary duties, or the impossibility of transferring property you don't personally own. I simply said, Friday won't work. They left irritated but certain. My mother shook her head on the way out like I was being stubborn. My brother muttered something about lawyers being a waste of money. They didn't know I already had one. I didn't scramble after they left. There was no frantic call. The call had been made weeks earlier when I first noticed small questions from extended family about ownership changes. My attorney had quietly flagged an attempted filing, an improperly executed deed submitted to the county clerk. It had been rejected pending review. That was when we scheduled a response. 2 days later, a moving truck pulled up. It was almost impressive, the commitment. 2 men stepped out, glanced at the house, then at my brother's car parked confidently behind them. My mother followed, wearing an expression of moral certainty. But they slowed before reaching the porch. Because someone was already standing there. Mr. Hargrove, my attorney, in a gray suit that never wrinkled. Beside him stood a uniformed sheriff's deputy, posture relaxed but unmistakably official. In Mr. Hargrove's hand was a folder thick with documents. My brother's smile faltered first. What's this? He asked, irritation creeping in. The deputy spoke before I did. Are you here to remove property from this residence? Yes, my brother said, regaining his tone. It's my house. Mr. Hargrove opened the folder calmly. This property is titled under the Whitmore Family Trust, he said evenly. Sole trustee, my client. He handed over copies, stamped, filed, recorded. He continued, still calm. An attempted deed transfer was submitted and rejected by the county due to improper authority and documentation inconsistencies. Any further attempts to claim possession will be considered interference with trust property. The deputy added, without raising his voice, If you attempt entry or removal today, it will be treated as trespass. There was no drama in his tone. That's what made it land. My mother's expression shifted first to confusion, then to something more fragile. We were told, she started, but stopped. Told by whom? Mr. Hargrove asked gently. My brother's jaw tightened. He flipped through the documents like speed could change the words. I stayed in the doorway, slightly behind them, not hiding, just not center stage. No one shouted. No one threatened lawsuits. The movers stood awkwardly by their truck, waiting for clarity. Eventually, one of them quietly closed the back door. My brother looked at me then, not angry yet. Just stunned. You went behind our backs. I almost laughed at that, but I didn't. I protected what was legally mine, I said, quietly. There was a long pause where something unspoken hung between us. Not money, not property, recognition. For years, they'd assumed that if they pushed hard enough, I would bend. That if they acted confidently enough, I would second-guess myself. They had confused kindness for surrender. The deputy stepped back toward his vehicle once it was clear no one was moving forward. Mr. Hargrove handed my brother a final notice outlining consequences for further interference. Professional. Clean. No humiliation. Just boundary. The truck left first. My brother stood there another minute as if waiting for the scene to reverse itself. It didn't. My mother avoided my eyes. This didn't have to be so public, she murmured. I didn't, I agreed. They drove away without slamming doors. The house felt larger afterward, not victorious, just quieter. That night I walked through each room slowly. The floors still creaked in the hallway the way they had when my grandfather checked locks before bed. The kitchen still smelled faintly of old wood and lemon oil. I hadn't wanted conflict. I had wanted stability. There's a difference. I don't know what holidays will look like now. My brother hasn't called. My mother texted once to say she hopes we can move past misunderstandings. Maybe we will. Maybe distance is the only honest version of peace available. The trust documents sit in a fireproof box in my office. Not because I expect another attempt, but because structure is how I sleep at night. People think leverage is loud. It isn't. Sometimes it's paperwork prepared before anyone thinks they need it. I didn't celebrate that day. I didn't feel powerful. I felt confirmed. My grandparents didn't leave me $900,000. They left me a test of whether I understood them. I think I did.